Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to the wrap up for Holiday Girl. I do this serial fan feedback every year for all you group readers to give me feedback on the serial. And this year's no different. I want to hear what you think about Holiday Girl. I have some questions that were pre submitted that I'll be addressing before the session ends. But I actually wanted to start with a couple of questions that I want you to think about and give me some feedback before we end. So if you can be thinking about what do you wish that I'd written more about in this serial, in the Holiday Girl serial? And also, what did you think about the romance level in the Holiday Girl serial? If you could be thinking about those two questions and giving me feedback in the comments section, that would be terrific. I will get to those after I answer a few questions. Oh, Pat is here and she says, love the scarf. She noticed. So, yes, I have my Jelly Roll scarf on. Actually, my setup is a little different this year because I'm at my sister's house, and so I'm actually broadcasting from her office. So, my dear sister, she's the one who made the Jelly Roll scarf for me. It's probably been about a year ago or so, and I just went crazy for it and told her she should make a lot more of them and sell them in her Etsy store. So she did. So she made some more scarves. They're all unique. I know so many of you have bought them, and then it's the prize that we gave away in the 12 Days of Christmas giveaway this year. So 12 of you won a scarf, and so many of you have purchased them. I think she's almost out. I think she might have a couple left in her Etsy store, but she sold most of them. So thank you for that. And I hope those of you who got the scarves, I hope you love yours as much as I do. I just think they're terrific, and they look as good with a dressy black coat or jeans, and they just fit in everywhere. So I love my scarf. And was happy to find a way to put it in Holiday Girl this year. And I hope you like the way that I worked it in. And if you've got questions about the scarves and Mandy in particular in the story, please post those. So I'm watching the comments from the side. Hello. So let's see who all's here. We have Pat and Chandra and Deanna. And let's see. And Erin is here. Hi, Donna. Let's see. Letitia is here. Pat, I think I mentioned, and Suzanne is here. Yeah, looks like a great group. I'll keep an eye on the comments side to see whoever pops in. If somebody pops in, let me know you're here. Actually, I can't see that you're here unless you drop by and just say hi. Cheryl, hi. And Carla, Ellen, hello. Hello, everyone. Yeah, so keep saying hi. Ashley, yeah, what a great group. Thanks, everybody, for showing up. I know there are lots of things going on tonight. But I always appreciate getting a chance to talk to you live and getting to answer the questions that you have about this story and some things that I've got coming up this spring as well. So a couple of small announcements about that at the end. But I want to get to your questions that were submitted early. Okay, Deanna asked, have you considered giving a short Where Are They Now with any of your serials? I've enjoyed them all. Thank you, Deanna. And she goes on to say that Elevator Girl was her favorite, with Holiday Girl coming in a close second, which it kind of surprises me. And I want to talk a little bit more about Holiday Girl after I answer this particular question. So don't let me forget, I want to circle back around to some generalities about Holiday Girl and how all of that came to be. But anyway, have I considered giving a short Where Are They Now update? Well, okay, so I feel like I did a Where Are They Now with Coma Girl. Now help me out. This was in This was in, so she went to Jack Terry's office, and wasn't that in one of my Body Movers books? Where was that scene? Where did I post that scene? Gosh, so many books. My memory is not as good as it should be for some of these stories because Coma Girl was so long ago. Let me think about this. Um, mm, okay, maybe I think I remember. I think I wrote a missing scene and posted it in the group. Is that what I did? I think that's what I did. So I did a little update on Coma Girl, and I'll have to go back and see if I can find that scene. I did. That's what I did. So I wrote just a short scene between Jack Terry. Coma Girl goes to visit him, and there's like a little update on what's happening there. And I think I posted that just for the group. I will go back and try to find that scene and repost it for those of you who read Coma Girl more recently and would maybe like to see that update. As far as the other books, so I haven't really done any updates for the other serials. I will think about doing that and posting those in the group as well. I really do. Honestly, I just kept hoping that the serials were going to be optioned for TV, and they were so, Coma Girl was optioned for the TV series there for a while, and that was very exciting. Actually, it sold to the CW network, and a pilot was written, but then it didn't go forward, and so that option expired. I've had interest in some of the other serials, and I think I've just held off from giving updates on them, hoping that I would be able to do that in a TV series. But oh, and by the way, fingers crossed, there's some interest in Elevator Girl. So I should know more about that in the next month or so. Hopefully by the end of January, I'll have an update for you there. So I'm hoping the updates can be made in another medium, but I promise I will think about some extra scenes that I can post just in the group for the serial lovers group, so that you can get that little bonus scenes and find out what everyone's up to. And Deanna had, let's see, another question, and she said, "How far in advance do you write the dailies?" Not very far in advance. I'm usually a month ahead. So I write the part one novella in June, and it comes out July. And then I write the August novella in July. So I'm usually just about a month behind. I'm sorry, a month ahead. I feel like I'm behind all the time, but I usually write a month ahead. And some of that is because I like the excitement of writing it almost real time. And I also like to get your feedback as I'm going along. And sometimes things come to me if I wait until, I won't say the last minute, but if I wait just a little closer to that novella being due. And so we'll see. I probably should write it earlier, just in case there's an emergency or something comes up. But this seems to be working so far, so I'll probably keep doing it. I would like to say that I would get things done sooner, but I probably won't. So next year's serial will probably be written, I'm sorry, this year's serial will probably be written very similarly. Okay, let's see. Did I say hello to Ellen? Ellen says hello from Iowa. And let's see. Gwen's here, and Laurie is here, and Marilyn is here. And let's see. I just want to get to say hello to everybody. Janet's here. Janet and I go way back. Corinne is here. Shawnee. Okay. Okay. I am going to get to the next question. And by the way, remember the questions that I wanted your feedback on. What would you have liked for me to have written more about in Holiday Girl? And also, Um, what did you think about the romance level in Holiday Girl? Okay, so Pat's question is, would you ever do a sequel to the Daily Read? And so we talked a little bit about that. Um, and yes, I'll do some bonus scenes and post them in the serials group. So I will do that. Hold me to that, by the way. If you haven't heard from me on some bonus scenes late spring, bump me on that and I'll get on them. But Pat goes on to ask, how do you come up with the character names? Okay, I'm so glad you asked about names because, names was was a big hurdle for me in this particular serial. Okay, so Comfy, her name, Comfort and Joy. I mean, I loved her name when I did the introduction and just coming up with the character and everything about her. But oh my gosh, the name Comfort is so hard to say and write. It's one of those, it's just a difficult name. Like it sounds like I call them, there are certain words that are like boomerang words. Like they sound almost harsh when you say them, and they're difficult to get into the story in a big way. And when you're saying someone's name over and over and over. So I ended up having to shorten her name to Comfy for most people. And then I felt like that kind of, then it sort of lost its meaning because people weren't saying comfort and joy all the time. So anyway, I feel like I might have flubbed a little bit on Comfy's name. Although I loved her name, it was just the execution of it that wasn't quite as smooth as I would have liked. And then, so I came up with her aunt's name, Justine, and I love the name Justine. I absolutely love it. And then I know Erin is weighing in here. She had trouble with Justine and Justin. Did I do that on purpose? I did not. Oh my goodness. I don't know what I was thinking. So I came up with Justine and I loved her name. And I think I just kind of put Justine out of my head because I wasn't really writing about her for so much of the story. And then when I thought, well, what would be a good name for the hero? Justin just popped into my head. I've never used the name Justin before. And so I thought, yeah, he seems like a Justin. I'll just use Justin. So, oh my goodness. Wow. I just really shot myself in the foot there. So, gosh, I will never do that again. But no, that was not purposeful. That was a mistake. And actually, not a mistake, but just not as clean as I would have liked for it to be. So that might be one thing that I change in the print version, because I know those of you, if you're new to the wrap up that I do for the serial, I usually take feedback from all of you, and depending on what I hear, if I hear something that is organic to the story, I might change that. I might change that part of the story. And the print version might actually be different than the e-novellas were. And one thing that I might change is the name of the hero. Letitia says, Sheriff Gray Eyes was a hottie. Yeah, he was that. It's hard to beat a man in uniform, that's for sure. Okay, I'm going on to Letitia's question, and she says, what is the most challenging part of writing this story? So, gosh, let me think. There were a couple of things that I thought would be easier than they were. And I think it was just part of being in that small town. I was hoping to give everyone like a little bit more. I know there was a lot about Main Street and the little shops downtown, but I really kind of wanted to give more of a sense of the town in general, like the outline area and where it was situated. And I feel like I didn't get to do enough of that. And that was hard to do. Looking back, there was one thing that I wish I had done, and this might change in the print version as well. But if you recall, in New York, Comfy was teaching spin classes, as part of her cobbling together these secondary jobs so she would have enough money to live on. And I wish I had given her a bicycle when she moved to somewhere. And if I had it to do over again, I probably would do that. Is give her a bicycle, because I think that would have allowed her to explore the town in a different way. The only part of that would have been a complication is I really kind of needed for her to not have a driver's license and to need to be in driving her aunt's truck. So I'll have to think about that. Maybe it was just getting too cold and she couldn't bike anymore. I don't know. Anyway, I wish I could have worked the bike in there a little bit. So that was not maybe a hard part of this story, but I almost felt like I made it harder for myself between the name situation and then not giving her a bike. So anyway, those were the two things that I thought was hard about writing the story, this particular serial this year. And then let's see. Letitia also asked, do you know how the story is going to end in advance? I kind of have a vague sense of where I want the story to go, but that doesn't always work out. So like in Holiday Girl, I actually didn't know who the killer was going to be until maybe halfway in. And then I really was bouncing around, like it could be this person, it could be that person. Now, some of that works for the story because I wanted to set up a lot of likely suspects. But if I get past halfway into the story and I'm still not sure where it's going to go, that starts making me a little nervous. So I do like to have as much of it figured out as possible. Okay, and I'm going to answer another question, and then I'm going to get to your comments because I see you're all already commenting about some things. And then Letitia's last question was, or do you take your cues from the reader's guesses? I do read the comments every day. I'm not always the best about commenting on your comments, but I do read them every day. So, yeah, I like to see how you all are guessing and what clues that you might be picking up on, and then what clues you might be missing. I'm actually more interested in the clues you might be missing, and that might push me into a direction more than the guesses about the right guesses, I should say. So, okay, I'm going to get to some of these comments, and give me just a second because I'm going to be scrolling back to make sure that I get everyone. So Heather, hello from Australia. Gosh, and it's, let's see, early in the morning there. Is that right? So mid-morning there. Hello, Marge, and Sherry is here, and Ellen. Yeah, hang on just a second. I'm going to try to navigate the screen a little better. Hi, Sharon. Sharon and I go way back too. And Kim, hello. Okay, and then Janet says, let's see. Oh, hi, Janet. Yeah. Okay, so people are commenting on what they would like to see more of. And Laurie says, I would have liked to have seen more of her design and sewing ideas and having people love it and want more. Okay, that's duly noted. I might put more of that in the book, in the print version, because I agree. I mentioned some more about her designs early in the story, I guess in the first novella, so most of July when she was still in New York working for the designer. And I talked more then about her style and how it was a little bit like origami. It was lots of folding and lots of what would we call that? I'm losing my smocking, losing some of my sewing vocabulary, but smocking is that very detailed gathering of fabric and then sewing it down. So yeah, I'm really glad to hear you say that, because sometimes I feel like I get a little bit too wrapped up in the terms, the terminology, the design and the sewing and the fabric and all of that, because I love all of that so much. So thank you for the comment that you'd like to see more. And let's see. Ashley says, I was hoping we would get to hear more about her life in New York or more about the show she was going to be on. And you liked the romance level. And you were Team Justin from the very beginning. Yeah, I mean, I love Justin too. I tried to make Ethan as appealing as possible, but toward the end, I couldn't hide it anymore. I'm not saying he didn't have his own affection for Comfort. I think he did. And they probably were going to have a lot more in common than she and Justin, but I don't know. I just felt like by the end of the story, she was moving in a different direction than Ethan. And going back to New York and being on the show was kind of be going backward for her. Let's see. One thing that I wish I had been able to do is show her back in New York and maybe running into, I think her name was Ashley. Who was the name of the woman? Help me remember my character names. Who she was pouring coffee for? Anyway, it was this Amazonian gorgeous model woman who seemed to have her life together. And I kind of wish she could have gone back and had an encounter with that same woman again, just to sort of bookend the beginning and the ending of her story. Okay, let's see. What if there are other comments? Oh, Aaron says make Justin Bo. Yeah, that'd be a good name. And Sherry, though, is sweet. Disagree. I think Justin and Justine is real life. That's true. We tend to forget that, there are so many people with similar names. And, I do that from book to book. I've written so many books at this point and there are some names I just simply love. And I just kind of forget that I've used them before. And so I'm sure there's lots of names I've used again and again. But I have to say, Justin and Justine was a little confusing in this one, and I'll try to do better in the future. And then Aaron says, I'm sure there are 100 sheriffs named Bo in Georgia, probably. Marilyn says, I'd like to know more about Mandy, Jennifer, and Nolan, the fake Danbury ornaments, Daphne, and Rima. Okay, all of those are good. So more about Mandy. So I hope that I was fair to Mandy in this story. Mandy's had been through a lot. We found out at about halfway through the story. And I didn't want to make her look like this woman who didn't deserve Justin or someone who was, simply sort of the other woman. I'm not really crazy about those situations. So I hope I was fair to her. But I hope also the ending of the story made you think that Mandy might have a future with her store and maybe a different kind of business. At least I'm hoping. Jennifer and Nolan. Oh, that was actually Okay, if I do a follow-up, if I do a bonus scene on Holiday Girl, I promise you I will give you an update on Jennifer and Nolan. How's that? The fake Danbury ornaments, I kind of threw that in there as a red herring. I thought I might make more of that. And at one point I thought that the sales guy, Huey, that he might be the killer. So I thought I might make more of that, but then I started thinking maybe that was a little too obvious. So I deviated from that. But I actually thought about having more about ornaments in general in the story, and I just didn't have room. I don't know. Maybe I got a little too ambitious on this story. Just didn't have room to explore as many tangents as I wanted to and details. Daphne and Rima. So I really think I probably would have liked to have done more with Rima. Daphne, seemed to have found her place. Like she seemed happy enough in somewhere. Rima, I'm not sure. Don't you see Rima maybe leaving, going to Atlanta, maybe doing something very similar to what Comfy did, which is go away to a bigger city and then come back at some point, maybe? But thank you for that comment. I will keep all of those things in mind when I go back to write the bonus scene. Lori says, ditto, would be nice to get a better sense of the area. Yeah, I would have liked to have explored more about the town. Let's see. Avalon was the girl in the coffee shop. Oh, thank you. It wasn't Ashley, it was Avalon. Thank you. She's the one who put Comfy on Instagram and kind of outed her to her mother, wasn't she? Let's see. Reading some more of your comments here. Let's see. Rima could work for Carlotta. Ooh, that's a good thought. That's a good thought. Lots of crossover in my serials, if you hadn't noticed, that I always bring one or more Body Movers characters over. And Jack was here, and we worked in Carlotta and Prissy in this story. Let's see. Mandy could catch Ethan's eye. That's a good idea. Maybe Mandy's the one who should be on the next program, especially since Comfy's not going to be on it. Paula, hello, says, I think Ethan only loved himself, and I was also thinking Comfy could do the show in New York and have Daphne run the shop while she was gone. We ran out of time, though. Yeah, I know. I felt like this story could go on, and actually, my my film agent, he's not really my agent, but more my manager. He is shopping the story to maybe some interested people. We'll see. So I'm hoping that there's a lot more Holiday Girl story to go, and that we can revisit her at some point. Let's see. Oh, Debbie says she liked the. Oh, Debbie, thank you very much. She said she thought the story was great. Thank you. And Laurie says, I like the video conferences back with her New York roommates. Yeah, I felt like I needed to do that just to keep her sort of in touch with what was going on back there. And I also was looking forward to writing the scene where Mr. Oz, where Winston Oz called her to offer her job back. And so I didn't want that to come entirely out of the blue. So I wanted to keep her to have, some connection with New York still. Was Justine involved with both Huey and Troy? So just Troy is what I was thinking. Would you like for her to have been involved with both of them? I mean, she could have been, I guess. But I remember Huey saying they had something going on. Oh, okay. I think he meant, I think when he said that, he was insinuating that they had something going on, like a business, maybe even something underhanded going on, like an agreement. At least that's what I remember. Let's see. I wanted to find money sewn into the costumes or something. Yeah, that would have. That's a good point. Could do that. Actually, when she was looking for the missing money, I thought about having, something like that in the, something to do with the clothes that her aunt had put in this little closet. But I thought she had already gone through them so thoroughly, I didn't see how, that could be. So I wound up not using it. But that was one of the hiding places I thought of. And it seems obvious that her aunt would have thought of that too. I thought the hiding place that she came up with was maybe a little more obscure, I hope. Let's see. I loved Carlotta coming into the story. Thank you. Yeah, it's always fun to go back and write about the Body Movers characters. And more about Carlotta and Jack. Jack is so easy to write. Hallmark for this one. Well, from your comment to Hallmark's ears, that would be great. That would be super. I'd love to see this as a series on Hallmark. Let's see. Feel free to expand the daily reads, to get more details. Okay, well, let me just address that while we're here, because some of my reads serials have been a little longer than others. Like Coma Girl, for example, was very long, and Comeback Girl was very long. And that makes for better daily episodes, like more lengthy episodes. The problem is when I go to put them in a printed book. That makes the printed book so long and so big. And because they're print on demand, I have to, the print on demand books are basically priced out by how many pages are in the book. And that makes the printed book more expensive than I would like for it to be. So that's why some of the serials are shorter than others, is because I try to be cognizant of what size of a printed book that's going to be. The same thing for when I put them into audio, because it makes for a much longer audio book, and it's much more expensive to get it produced when they're longer and longer. And the audiobook has to, they charge more for the audiobook because it's a longer narration. So that's why some of the serials are a little shorter than others. Let's see. Okay, let me get back to the questions. Pamela said, loved it. Thank you. And she said she would love for one in the spring. Okay, we've talked about this a little bit. At least my team and I talked about this in the beginning, about should we just do year-round serials, do one 6-month serial in the fall and one in the spring. But what we decided was that maybe everyone needs a little bit of a break from the serial. And I think I might need a little break from it too. And having the spring open allows me to focus on new books and continuing series. And I'll be talking more about some more books that I have coming out in the spring at the end. But that's why I don't do it year round. It's just so that I've got time to work on other books and other series. And then Laurie asked, how did writing this serial compare to writing previous ones? And does it get easier? Are they all different? Are they all challenging in their own way? And yes, all of those things. So writing this serial for Holiday Girl actually was a teeny bit easier than some of the previous serials, only because I had the holiday to write around. And I felt like there were a lot of built-in, built-in elements and just themes that I could build on. It's always great to have, once every serial has a holiday in it. At the end of the serial, there's always, a Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, some holidays in there. But it was nice to have sort of a setup structure for the holiday from the get-go, so that I could really kind of hang the story on this theme of Christmas and Christmas in July, and just show sort of what a cottage industry the whole idea of Christmas has become. So in that respect, this one was just a tad easier because I felt like I had a built-in story structure there where I didn't in some of the other ones. Like, for example, with Escort Girl, last year's serial, she kind of had to be dealing with different people every day, and she could be in any part of the city, and there was a lot going on with each individual celebrity that she was escorting around. There just seemed to be a lot to cover there, and there was just a lot more ground to cover. And in Holiday Girl, I felt like it was a little bit more like just that it was a small town with a little bit smaller cast of characters, and I felt like it was more focused, I guess. So this one was a little easier. They're all different though, and they all are challenging in their own way. So that's fun of doing the serial every year, is how can I make this one different than previous years, and how can I come up with different cast of characters that we haven't seen, and hopefully they're all different and you don't feel like I'm repeating things too much, because there is a formula here that I follow, but I hope it's different enough every year to keep it coming back. Okay, I'm going to go back to some of the comments and see what you all are saying. Let's see. I love Jack and your stories. I recently listened to Coma Girl. Thank you for that. Going back and, that's the thing about some of the serials. I mean, it's one thing when you read them, but they are definitely a different experience when you listen to them. And for those of you, if you haven't, check out the Coma Girl podcast and the Temp Girl podcast. Those are all free. So wherever you get your podcast, on iTunes or Podcast Addict or Spotify, it's now available on Spotify. Those are free, and there are daily episodes. So it's as if you were reading it. It's a short episode every day, but it has music and sound effects, and it's definitely a way to experience the story in a different way. So even if you've read Coma Girl and Temp Girl, if you listen to the podcast, it's a totally different experience because it's just more immersive. So thank you for bringing that up, Sharon. Appreciate that. Let's see. Steve Burton has to be Jack. I confess I don't know who that is, but I will look him up directly. Let me see. Who is Steve Burton? Steve Burton, actor. Oh, I wondered why it seemed familiar. He's been in the news this week because he is going back to General Hospital. Oh, yeah. He's nice. Good choice. I would not say no to Steve Burton as Jack. Okay. Let's see. Oh, someone is saying that, let's see, it's Aaron is saying we had an all-year Christmas store just south of Gainesville. I think it burned down. That's a little bit like life imitating art. And people are saying the podcasts are great. So thank you for that. Appreciate that. And Letitia's saying, we'll always come back to read a Stephanie Bond serial. Thank you. I hope you all plan to come back July. Don't have an idea for it yet, but I promise I will by the time we get there. Marge says she liked that Where the Money Was Hidden. I'm not going to give you the spoiler in case you haven't read that part. And Pat is saying Hallmark Movies and Mystery Channel because of the murder. That's where I would love to see this serial wind up, is on Hallmark Movies and Mystery Channel. Fingers crossed, we'll see. Okay, that was all the questions that were submitted. Let me know if you all have more questions in the comments. If I missed them, would you post them again so they're coming up at the bottom in case I scroll past it. Sorry. And then Elisa is asking, do I write it all ahead of time or as I go? Yeah, no, I write it as I go because I want to see your comments, and I'm reading comments, and I'm just sort of drafting off of the enthusiasm that you give me. You all just have no idea how wonderful it is to go out and see your recaps and the reaction to the story and the way that you're discussing things and what you think will happen. It really does. It really does just keep me going. And it's fun to write a story when you're still enthusiastic about the story. And I hope that my enthusiasm is evident when you read the daily episodes. And let's see, Lisa, she's asking, do comments from the readers affect the story? Yes, they do. Both ways. I want to see what you're reacting to in good ways and what you'd like to see more of and what you might like to see less of and all of those things. And Jill is saying she loves her Jelly Roll scarf. It's cold here. It's cold where she is, so she can wear it now. Suzanne says, is the cat still hanging around while you write? So my kitty is Big Mac. I have a 23 plus pound kitty who moved into my house and wouldn't leave. He's an outdoor kitty. He's indoor, maybe, well, he comes and sleeps indoors and he's in and out as the day goes on. So he still comes to my office and sleeps and, but gets up and makes me let him out a lot of the time. So he still hasn't decided what he's going to be, indoor, outdoor kitty. Right now he's both. But yeah, he's still hanging around. He's adorable. I've never been a pet person until now. And then that whole thing about cats picking you, that's definitely true. Thanks for the nice comments, everybody. And Linda says she's loving her scarf too. Janet is saying Temp Girl will always be her favorite. That's so funny, Janet, because, I really loved writing Temp Girl. And it's the one story that my film manager was not crazy about. And I don't know. I felt like I probably got less feedback on that story than any of them. I think what happened with Temp Girl, I call that my make under story, because in the beginning she was this character who wasn't maybe as appealing as some of my other characters, but that was what I wanted it to be. I wanted her to start in this sort of broken place and then change as the story went on. And I hope that's what I managed to achieve in Temp Girl. But, it took a little bit of getting into that character. And I might have lost some people in the beginning of that story because they felt like she wasn't appealing. I'm not sure, but I will. Temp Girl is one of the serials that I would most like to see turned into a TV series, maybe a limited series, or maybe even its own, mystery series, because she could definitely be a Temp Girl and solving murder mysteries or solving murders as she works and goes about her temp life. Let's see, a couple more questions. Deanna says dogs pick you too. Trust me. Okay, I probably won't be having any dogs around with all the cats. I didn't mention that I have 2 feral cats living under my rental house, and lots of other cats in the neighborhood. So lots of kitties in my backyard. I go through a lot of cat food, that's for sure. And there's lots of other critters back there too that I think are horning in on the cat food. Let's see. What movie is where the cat's name italics? I'm not sure. Maybe somebody else on the loop will know who that is. Let's see. Okay, I'm just looking through your comments. We'll probably be wrapping up here pretty soon. Jill says her mom's cat is 17 pounds. Thought she was big. Yeah, no, my cat is a big boy. The vet just laughs and laughs. The word is that before he wound up in my house, he just kept running into my house when I would open the door. And I thought he was a pregnant mama. I thought he was a girl cat that was looking for a place to have kittens. And so for the longest time, I just kept throwing him out of my house, and he just kept coming back. And so my sweet neighbor and I decided one day that she said, if I pick it up, will you look to see what it is? And so she picked it up, and I lifted the tail, and I was like, oh, it's not a mama. It's just a big chunky boy. So I let him stay. So yeah, he's a chunk. Okay. Let's see. Oh, okay. Movie was Runaway Bride. Was that the movie with the cat named Italics? I think you're responding to. And let's see. Don't know if you've answered yet. I'm just hopping on. She said not yet. Okay, what question? Please post it again if I didn't answer a question, because I've missed it somewhere. So I'm going to talk about a couple of other things, and go ahead and repost your question if I missed it. Sorry about that. Okay. So I just wanted to mention that, some things we're talking about. The reason I don't do a serial in the spring is because I've got other books that I need to be writing. There's so many books I need to write, and there's so many books I want to write and get out there for you. So, but next up is the print version of Holiday Girl will be coming up in the next few weeks. And then I'm going to release the 2 Voodoo books that are long overdue. So when I first wrote the Voodoo series back, many years ago for HarperCollins, there was meant to be 4 books in that series, and Harper only released 2. And I've been meaning to release the other 2 books in the series for a long time now. And I promise I'm going to get those out in the next few months. They're almost done. They needed a lot of work, and I've been working on them off and on, and I keep going back to them and having to go away. But I'm going to get back to them and release them finally this spring. So Voodoo Books 3 and Voodoo Books 4, that would be Voodoo Diaries and Voodoo You Love, I think is what I decided for those titles. Yeah. And so anyway, I'll be putting word out about that, of course, on the website and Facebook page. And so right here, you'll find out all the details first. And then I'm going to write another book in my 2 Guys Detective Agency series. And that's going to come out this spring as well. And then reissues of some of my early romance titles. My former publisher has reverted some of those early titles that I wrote 20 years ago, some of them even older than that. And so I still love those stories, but they need to be updated before I can re-release them, because they, they're still talking about flip phones and boom boxes and pagers and those kinds of things that make them seem very out of date. So I'm going through and updating them, and I'll be releasing some more of those. And I'm going back through and I won't say rewriting them, but definitely updating the writing too, because hopefully I'm a better writer than I was when I first wrote those books. So anyway, I want to clean them up for you and then release them. And I'm thinking about putting some new covers out this year and repackaging some of my older books and getting more of them out in boxed sets now that I've got enough of them back that are connected. So I'll be announcing all of that on my website and also on the Facebook page. So I'll let you know when those are coming out. And okay, I think we're about to come to the end of an hour, and I want to take the rest of this time to just thank you so much. If not for you, I couldn't do the serials every year. It's you following along and chiming in and sharing with each other your comments and where you think the story's going, and just the community of sharing with other readers and the camaraderie. It's just meant so much to me, and I know it has to the other readers as well. All of you are just wonderful, and you do so much by talking up the serial to your friends, and more and more people join every year. The Cereals group has gotten bigger every year. And I just so appreciate your support and letting other people know about it. I haven't decided what the 2024 cereal is going to be, but as soon as I do, I'll be announcing it here in the Cereals group first, and then I'll be putting it out on my website and other places. And I've got the countdown started on my website front page. I've still got question marks for the titles, so I will update that accordingly. But you'll see the update on the front page, and so we are starting the countdown already. So I will see you back here with another cereal July 1. And I just want to also take a special some time out to thank Pat, who did such a great job doing the recaps in the cereal this year, all the daily episodes, and all of you chiming in. It helps so much that the people have recaps to go to on the days that they miss the episode so that they don't fall too far behind. So thank you so much. You guys are wonderful. I love you. Thank you again. And please come back July 1. I hope that you will come back and let's do this again. All right. Bye, all.